share this with colleagues, and you can have it available for yourself later. And there goes that recording. And you will be able to access it later. And I'll also be putting it on the Galileo training page, and I'll make sure you know where to find that by the end of today's session as well. So that's it in terms of what we're going to do, and I'm going to shut up and get to it and go ahead and talk about the work that we've been doing here for the last year, since last July when we did our first major release. So you may have noticed improvements along the way. Immediately after we released GALILEO Search, which we definitively decided to call it internally and externally when we referred to the new Galileo last year, we immediately started to get feedback, which is wonderful. We love to hear the feedback from you all, whether it's in training sessions like this, or through our support system, or email us directly. We love to hear from you about how we can improve our features and our functionality, and we continue to do that iteratively. We've continued to make major releases in the summer so that you can sit here in July as you're prepping for information literacy instruction sessions and handouts and tutorials that you're making for fall. You can go ahead and integrate our changes into that now. So some of the features that we've changed in terms of user-facing features, we've added kids' views back for public libraries. And we immediately got feedback last year after we released that the public libraries really wanted the kids' views, and that we thought this was a good idea. We had a lot of meetings with our Galileo Development Advisory Committee about that, and we did decide to add it back. We had also feedback from people in this room about kids' views for academic libraries. We decided to back away from that, but when we added them back for public libraries, we think that provides an easier path for student teachers, for example, that may want to have access to see what those views look like now that we have those views for public libraries. And also, we've discovered that a lot of student teachers do already have access through their school. That said, we've had a lot of discussion about that, making a kids' view available for those who might be in teacher education programs. And we decided to approach that on a case-by-case basis. So if you've ever got questions, or we can probably work with you on providing a short-term access to a guest account if you'd like, for any of your K-12 student teachers who would like to access a K-12 version of Galileo, we can most likely work that out. Just reach out to us via the support ticket system, and we'll be glad to work with you on that. So that's where we've landed with that. We've added new tools. We immediately got feedback on adding A to Z lists back, and direct links to A to Z lists. I mean, we essentially had A to Z lists, but people wanted more definitive. I want to click on A and I want to see all the databases that start with A. So we spent a lot of time adding that back, and the development team did great work there. We've updated the Galileo embedded search box, much to the chagrin of the folks at University of North Georgia who love our big red box. I'm joking. We continue to work on the size and shape and, and other features there in terms of the look and feel of it. But we did upgrade it immediately so that we could have it parallel the look and feel of the new Galileo site. Still under construction as we are developing iteratively now, but we will continue to work on that. We added some tools. We added a tool called Power Notes and a tool called ZBib or ZoteroBib to the tools area of Galileo. We decided these were harmless tools to add. Power Notes is just basically a resource management tool that students can use. There's a free version available on the website, on the Galileo site. And we are continuing to have conversations with Power Notes about the potential to provide Power Notes as a paid service at some point in the future. We don't know what direction those conversations will take, but we continue to talk with them. We've discovered them to be a really good and very committed company that we like to talk with, and that they're very interested in Galileo, and they're a very good education-based, education thinking company. So we continue to talk with them about that possibility for the future. And then ZoteroBib, it is just a very straight ahead, open source, bibliographic or citation generator. It generates citations in a variety of different formats very quickly, And this was something that we wanted to provide. Even though our databases provide that option, we wanted to provide another sort of definitive tool that users could have available to do citations with. And then we've also added release notes because we know that you all are working continuously on things like tutorials and your own slide presentations and other things. We wanted to make sure that when we made changes, even small changes that impacted the public look and feel of the website, that we made you aware of them. So we added release notes to track these iterative changes on a monthly basis, and I'll show you what those look like when we go in a few minutes. So again, I think the best way to sort of show all this is to kind of get out of the slide presentation, and I will show you all the kids' views just so that you see them for when you might want to make that referral to a public library for a teacher education student to look at this. We'll make sure you see what it looks like and how it works. But I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting, and I'm going to toggle between a couple of different Galileo institutions so that you can sort of see how everything we've done works and comes together. So I'm going to stop presenting here. And you're going to see in just a second, you're going to see my Chrome browser where you'll also see my slides, but also see Galileo. Bear with me. And if Mike, if you could just let me know, even with the chat, when you see Galileo come up on my browser, I would ever appreciate it. I'm saying right now, why do you hate me? There we go. Everybody seeing Galileo?
It's still loading for me.
Great. So it wants to be slow today.
Something's happening. There we go. I can see it now.
Thanks, Mike. So we all know that last year we added the Wayfinder Discovery. This is our sort of bridge between a single sign-on and password, and we still have the password entry. I'm going to start with a public library. Again, I know you're looking for primarily the academic experience today, and that's where we'll focus, but I'm going to log in as Athens-Clarke County Library just to show you the views. We ask our users to choose a view when they first get to their public library Galileo site. The full view is just that, it's everything. And then we have an elementary, middle, and high school view. GDAC, our Galileo Development Advisory Committee, gave us good feedback on this and said that paralleling what is in the K-12 views would be best for them, just because kids come from school and then they come to the public library and they wanted them to have a consistent experience. And I thought that was a really great idea. So that's how we approach this. And I'll go ahead and just show you. If I choose elementary first here, I can then be in a refined EDS Ebsco Discover search for kids. I can turn the Bento on and off here as I'd like, and I'll show you more about that later. But then if I want to go to the full view, I can. So we're not restricting anyone from going from one view to another, but we are providing different user experiences and different searches in terms of the Ebsco Discover search and different spotlight resources in each view. So the public library full view has things like Gale legal forms and ancestry, very popular resources for the public library user community. So that is just, I wanted to quickly show you in a public library setting what those views looked like. I'm going to go ahead and log out. Another feature that we've added this year is this welcome user. If you are actually using single sign-on, in most cases it should welcome you specifically. This is another area where we're basically building a bridge. Galileo wants to continue to, per our strategic plan and the feedback that we got there, provide more customized features for individual users. Now that will be a long road for Galileo, but eventually we want it to be easy for a user to come to the Galileo site, customize settings for their searches, their preferred databases, and other things, and have that follow them. Galileo is something that is used by a lot of Georgia citizens from the time they are in K-12 in kindergarten in many cases all the way through adulthood. in several different contexts, whether it be education or public library context. So we want them to ultimately have an account that follows them as well, so that they can have the features that they want when they log into Galileo. Still a lot of work to do on that, but it is a direction that we are working in. So now going back to the more traditional academic library experience, I'm going to log in as the University System Office, where we essentially have access to the Galileo Academic Core. So this is how we log in here at Galileo. I'm actually already authenticated, so it's already going to, it's welcoming me, specifically Russell Palmer. And as you can see, we haven't added anything in this yet, other than I have the ability to log Russell Palmer out of Galileo if I so desire. This isn't tied to any kind of account just yet. It's just using my single sign-on credentials to say, hey, welcome Russell Palmer. One of the things that we sort of expanded upon in the most recent release, we had this last time as what's new, and we changed it to something more permanent called the tour. So what this does is much the same as with the last redesign. We put in a step-by-step tour to take you through what each item is within Galileo. And I'm going to do that anyway, but I'm just showing you that we added that so that end users who may be brand new to this or who may be navigating the new release of the site for the first time, they have a resource to help them navigate the site. So going over here, we added this new header. We wanted more white space and more room here, and we still haven't really decreased substantially the size of this, but that's something that we continue to have discussions about, getting more things above the fold, if you will. But one thing we did move above the fold after a lot of feedback was direct links to the all databases and all journals lists. These still repeat down the page, but that was something that people wanted to see higher on the page. And then we provided an anchor link to the In the Spotlight area. So if I click on the In the Spotlight, it just takes me down the page to the Spotlight, and I'm right there with those key resources. If I click on the all databases, obviously I'm going to get Ebsco because I am on university. Well, no, I'm going to get all databases, not all journals. I'm getting my A to Z list, and as you can see, we still retain the Galileo database search and the A to Z faceted list that we provided before. Just a few things in the results list, and I'll talk more about this later. One of the things that I am most excited about since the redesign this year that we have added, and I'll talk more about this in the context of the Galileo backend in a few minutes, but if I click on the More Info button for a database now, this is, I find this to be super cool as a librarian. We have added the ability for you all to add keywords and subjects. If you are a Galileo admin user or you know one at your institution, these subjects and keywords can be updated locally. This is a first attempt at making the metadata better. We decided that for this coming December, this was a project that we needed to focus a lot of energy and attention on. Bento was such a big focus for us this time that we didn't do everything that we wanted related to improving metadata, but we did get some things done. The other thing now is these keywords are now clickable. So if you have keyworded databases behind the scene at your institution, and you can add them and remove them, if I click here on accounting, I'm going to get more databases related to accounting. And in this case, you can see I'm already getting a little bit of a better result than I would with the Galileo subjects, which again, we know need work. I'm getting ABI informed collection, and I'm getting business source complete, but both of which should have articles about accounting. So really pleased with the addition there. Just going back to the all databases again, just want to show you also that vendors are now clickable, which is pretty cool. So if you were looking for more databases for ProQuest, or if you wanted to see all the ProQuest databases that you have access to, you could click on that to see it. So anything that you see that is sort of the dark blue pill button is clickable now, which I find to be an awesome addition. So that's the all databases. All journals in my case will go out to, I believe, Ebsco journal search. Yes. Where I can search the A to Z list of journals or search by subject, whatever I would like to do. And then In the Spotlight I mentioned already. Top to bottom, we already know about the Discover search. I'm going to skip Bento right now just to show you a few more things. One of the things that we were asked for, I talked a little bit about making improvements to metadata and providing access to certain types of resources. Just as two examples, we've gone through and we've added keyword metadata for items that have lexile limiters. This is something that we get asked about a lot. I don't know if I'll find any in the Galileo core search, but let's see. Yeah. So primary search, middle search plus, topic search, novelist. Yeah, I have a bunch in there actually. All of these are resources that provide some means to search by lexile level. So we've added some things to help users find that. We've added, I added ESL. So if there are materials in foreign languages, the only one I've tagged in this one is ebook K8 collection, which does have substantial amount of materials written in other languages that could be used in the ESL setting. I have added ESL as a tag to a lot of resources. So we're trying to make it more discoverable for certain situations. Another one was Georgia standards. The Georgia standards is something that our K-12 folks have wanted a lot, and these are resources that have some means to look at and compare content to the Georgia Standards of Excellence for Education. So we've done some work to kind of improve metadata in that search. And really, we are drifting toward this search being the most powerful way to get at our Galileo databases and to find what you need. And it is functioning, I think, very well. We will continue to work on improving subject and type metadata. We are working right now, one of our earliest development priorities for December, beyond improving Bento. Second on that list is pretty much finding a way for databases to get prioritized locally. So we're continuing to pursue that. And the spotlight has essentially remained the same, but I'm going to go in and just point out that this about area, this is something that for a long time, people would send harsh emails to us in disbelief that we hadn't updated their catalog and other information. Well, if we don't hear from you, we couldn't update it. But in any case, this is now locally, can be locally updated and can include any information that you would like. Essentially, if you wanted to provide a link to your learning center, I believe there's 5 links here, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. You could put in up to 5 links for your institution website, your institution catalog, and if you wanted a link to the Learning Center or some other campus entity that you're collaborating with, or have a special library news link, or whatever you want to put there, we've made that more flexible for libraries to put their own information into it. And again, Mike, I'll give you the kudos and credit and refer people to your good training on this in just a few minutes. Before we go into talking about Bento, I'm going to talk a little bit about tools, and then I'm going to talk about the release notes, and then we'll go and have a long look at the Bento search. So embedding a Galileo search box is essentially the same as it ever was, but I'm going to go ahead and click here and show you the treat that you have in store for you. Not only can you embed the standard Galileo search box with its big red button, you can now also embed the Galileo Bento search with its big red search button. And I will this is your first foray into seeing the Bento search, unless you've been playing with it at work. I just did this as an HTML file. This is Cherokee County Schools Bento search embedded just as an HTML file. And I'll just search dogs just so that you can see this works in the Bento environment. Although it's probably searching University System Office, not Cherokee County Schools. So that is as simple as that. If you want to have the Bento search on your library's website, the code is there for you to capture and to put it on as a supplement to your existing EDS search, or if you are interested in replacing that. So that is there for you. And then we also added Power Notes, as I mentioned, and Zotero or ZBib, the bibliography generator. We linked these to FAQ articles explaining what they are. And then from there, they link out to the actual site. And you can see the Zotero bib, you can enter a URL or an ISBN, any other piece of information, whatever you happen to have, click cite, and I've built a small list of citations here. It saves it with a cookie, a couple of articles that I just played around with and saved there. So that is ZoteroBib and what it does. And Power Notes, again, it's just there's some good video tutorials there. I haven't played with it much, to be honest. I played with it and made a couple of lists. It's pretty intuitive, but there are also really good video tutorials for getting started with Power Notes. So the last thing I want to share in terms of major updates to the main page and things that we've done there is in the footer area. I'm going to go ahead and click on Redesign Release Notes just so that you can see what we've done there. So if you're curious what's happened, and Mike, I'm guessing that Joy and Sean are just working on the major release notes from last week, but you can see that week by week, we put every other week, we do a major, a push of new code to Galileo every 2 weeks with improvements, bug fixes, any changes that we've made. Those are added here to the list week by week on a bi-weekly basis so that you can see what's been changed. So that's there for you. In the portal redesign information, in, again, the footer, you'll see the redesign release notes. So before I dig in more deeply into Bento search, I want to just take a pause and see if there are any questions.
No questions right now.
All right. Well, thank you all. If you have questions, don't hesitate to pop those into the chat, and Mike will be more than happy to relay them to me at an appropriate time. So we've been joking internally about the Bento search box, is it's ketchup and mustard colored. This was a very interesting choice. We thought that it was attention-getting, but it also conveyed another sort of symbolic thing that we were looking for. Is this is not perfect yet. This is a beta release of the Bento search. We have done a tremendous amount of work. I give good credit to Mike White. Mike has worked very closely with the team at Ebsco, who manages the Ebsco API, and our developers have coordinated with us on the Galileo Support Services side to create an API-connected index that we've basically mapped to do what we want it to do, with lots of feedback also from our Galileo Development Advisory Committee about what should go where in terms of the Bento boxes, what should they contain, and I feel like we've got a very good start with that, and we will be continuing to make some refinements on it toward making it the main search for Galileo by hopefully December of this year. But do keep in mind that it is beta, that we want your feedback. If you have feedback today, don't hesitate to type it into the chat, and we'll go ahead and take a look at it. So I'm going to go ahead. This is as simple as turning on or off the Galileo Bento search. We also wanted to make it clear what it was. So if you hover or if you click, that's another thing that we keep after in the Galileo effort, is making sure that we keep things as mobile friendly as possible. So Jason on our development team made sure that this could be clicked or could be hovered, because in the mobile environment you have to be able to click it. So those are the little nuances that we work on from day to day, and I'm so impressed by our development team and the work they do. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle it on now. I know you guys can't wait for me to do some searching here. So I've been playing around. I've been working with the National History Day program for the last couple of weeks and doing some training for them. So I'm going to just, I just thought this was the most fascinating topic. You see, I've been searching it, cigarette advertising and 1980s. I'm going to do that search in the Bento search and see what I come up with. Note that you can limit to full text within the Bento search. And I'll show you in a minute. There's lots of ways to get out of Bento once you're in, if you don't want to be in Bento. Although one of them is not working right now, but I'll be sure to tell you about that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on search. I will say that once you click on the Bento search once, it remembers that you're in Bento. So if you're in Public Library Views and you start in Bento, and then you wanted to change to, if you started in the full view and then you wanted to move to the elementary view, it sets a cookie that carries that over with you until you turn it off. So it remembers that you wanted to use Bento from view to view, and it will take your search with you as well. So this is the first list of Bento results. Let me go back one time. I keep teasing this, and just show you that when I turn the Bento search on, it also takes away the database search and the journal search, because one, they're up here, and two, this searches the Galileo database lists as well. It doesn't always find things when you're doing sophisticated Boolean searches, but if you come here and you're just looking for academic search complete, it will find it. And the reason it does that is because we have discovered over time, and even Ebsco accounts for this with what they call placards, we've discovered over time that a lot of students will come to the Galileo main search page. Their professor will have assigned them, hey, go take a look at Academic Search Complete. There's lots of great resources for your topic in there, and then they come to the Galileo main search and search for it. Well, this way they find it. So that's designed to sort of solve that problem. So I don't want to just search for Academic Search Complete. So I'm going to go back to my fun cigarette advertising in 1980s search, where it didn't find any databases, but it found 27,000 ebooks, 25,000 journals, 4 primary sources, 596 news articles. You get the idea. The Bento search has sorted the search results into specific areas based on the index terms from within the Ebsco Discovery Service. Primary sources right now, you're primarily going to find things from the Digital Library of Georgia. Is generally what you're going to find at this point. You might find articles also that come in there from the new Georgia Encyclopedia, because it's indexed in the Digital Library of Georgia. So if I click on primary sources, just to show you, if you click on those pill buttons, it will take you to a series of letters. This is a joint session of Congress, 98, presidential debate in San Diego, October 1996. But if you click on those, it's going to take you to the actual resource. This is a letter to the chair of this Liquor. So this is actually from American Reference Library Primary Documents Collection. So this is actually from an Ebsco source, so it kind of contradicted what I just said. There are some primary things that may pop up from other resources, but there is a lot of content in here that will come from Digital Library of Georgia and other sources, depending on the search. But these pill buttons, as they're called, will take you to a window. We'll go ahead and do scholarly articles. And once you're in this window, we wanted to make sure that we retain the experience as much as possible. There's a truncated abstract and a link to the PDF full text, or the full text if it's just HTML full text. So that is all retained here. If you click on the individual item, it takes you to the item, just like it would. It takes you to the item in the Ebsco Discovery Service, where you have access to all the tools and access to download the PDF here and view the article. It follows the accession number for that. Note that it does it all in a new window, so that you can just close that tab, or create a new tab. You can close that tab and go back to your existing window here. Now, the functionality that is missing right now, and we're working to get this repaired, is we had a refined search functionality right here. So when we get that repaired, if you're in the Bento results and you're like, well, this is frustrating, I'm not loving what I'm finding, I just want to go to EDS, but I don't want to redo my search, and I just want to apply these limits, but apply perhaps some more limits. If I click on the Refine Search button, when we put that back, you will be able to do that. It'll just take your existing search straight into EDS. We are working to get that repaired. It's an issue on the Ebsco side related to the length of the query, and we hope to have it fixed soon. But as you can see, if I click on to open the PDF document, it just opens like it would from a standard EDS screen in a new tab. And the screen that you're seeing here is pretty much all Galileo. It's just pulling information from the Ebsco Discovery Service via the API. And one of the first pieces of feedback I expect to get is this ain't the fastest thing in the world. We've done everything that we can to optimize the speed, but as with any Discover search, it's searching a lot of information at one time, and it does take time to aggregate that information and present it. But what you will see, I'll run the search again, is that as different boxes fill in, it does fill them in on a case-by-case basis. And then it tells you when they're sort of still running. So if I go into, just to show you the News tab, if I click on it while the rest of the search is still running, it'll still present me results once they appear in that pill box for, or that pill button for News.
Hey, Russell.
Yep.
We've had a couple of questions.
Sure, great.
If you're ready. Some of them I think you may have explained enough to answer them, but I'll go ahead and read them.
Please do.
First one is, how do you filter the results within Bento dividers?
Filter the search results within the box?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think that harkens back to what I was explaining we're working on. There's no real further filter for this right now. Now I did show you can, when you click on either the top bar or you can click on the show results, and that will show you the full results list. But until we get that problem fixed with the refine search, what we plan for you to be able to do is click on a refine search button here, go into EDS, and then further refine the search if desired. So that's what we have in mind for that. There is no functionality that we can add locally that is as powerful as what you can do, quite honestly, in EDS. The main functionality here is to sort the articles, but we do want people to be able to continue to refine their search, so that will be the means to do that once we have it repaired. That's a great question, and I hope I addressed that. And what was the second question, Mike?
Next question is, so Bento only delivers Ebsco products, question mark.
Not correct. So that's what we're seeing right now is Ebsco, but it searches anything in your regular EDS results. So Ebsco Discover Service is what powers this, but it should show anything in your Ebsco that you would get in your standard Ebsco Discovery search results. I will present one exception for that we've been talking about actually today as an early piece of feedback that we got on this, and that is in the Encyclopedia area. Some of you who may subscribe to Encyclopedia Britannica, we are handling that in a little bit of a different way. So we haven't enabled Encyclopedia Britannica in the Encyclopedia box yet for academic libraries, because that's going to be a little bit tricky for us, but we are going to work to find a way to do that. But no, it is, if you go into the ebooks over here, Mike did a great job of innovating a way for us to put the ebook central books in here. Ebook central books will appear in the ebook results, just as they do in the EDS search. I would imagine that some of the news and magazine articles I'm finding are probably coming from ProQuest as well. So if it's being searched by EDS, which sometimes it doesn't search ProQuest content, but if it's being searched by EDS locally, you should be seeing it in your Bento results.
Okay. The third question, I guess just more of an observation, was it was noticed that when you search for cigarettes advertising in the 1980s, that the results weren't limited by 1980s. Like the articles weren't published in the 80s.
Right, exactly. I mean, if I was going to do a date range search, I would still need to go into the advanced search and EDS and do that. I don't really have a means in the Bento search to do an advanced search or to do date limiting yet. So that's interesting and a good observation. That's something for us to think about with Bento.
And that is all the questions right now.
Yep. Well, thank you for those great questions, and thank you, Mike, for catching me. I'm glad that they were coming through. So that, again, is just one thing we wanted people to always be able to do, per your observations here. Hey, I am not liking what I'm getting just by putting in 1980s. I'm clicking on the advanced search now, and I'm going to go into EDS. So that advanced search button, we tried to make it always available there. So I can just come here and redo my search. If I wanted to find specifically articles in that 1980s date range, then I can go ahead and apply the published date limit. Yep, great questions. So just a few more things about Bento. I think one of the questions that comes up quite frequently, and I will forgive us because there is a work in progress FAQ about this. I wanted to point, this is a point of, on two things. Do note that for everything that is new, we have FAQs, including substantial FAQs on Bento searching and what material types are mapped to the Bento boxes in Bento search results. If you're curious about that, there is a PDF document that you can link to. And forgive me, I need to go pretty this up, but I wanted to get in there quickly. This comes from our development team, but basically tells you what is mapped to each Bento box. And as I mentioned, Encyclopedia Britannica and Funk and Wagnalls, so we only included Britannica for K-12 right now, but those are derived from EDS content providers, not directly from the EDS API, so they were handled a little bit differently. I know we have a couple of public librarians in the audience today too, and I just wanted to mention, you see in this, since I'm not doing a heavy-duty demo in the public library site, we have actually made it sure that Learning Express articles come up in the Bento search for our public libraries as a fun way to better discover those articles and tests and test prep guides and other things. So that's something that we have done for our public libraries. Any other questions on Bento? That was a good one.
Yeah, we had one, Angela from University of North Georgia asked if you use the limit to full text option on the home page, the Bento homepage, will it include, or I guess either one, will it include databases we have linked text set up, like Science Direct? And I can answer this.
Yeah, go ahead. I think I'm going to let you answer that one because I think I know, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm double checking myself because the way the different ways Ebsco handles full text is a little quirky. But I do believe it will consider those full text. It's really if the if the custom link that you have set up is a under the category of full text, it will catch that under the full text limiter. But I will double check to make sure I'm not wrong on that. I know we had a large discussion about what that full text checkbox actually does, but I'm thinking yes, but I'll double check, and if I'm wrong, I'll let you know, Angela.
Yeah, that's a great question, and Mike is right. I remember the lengthy discussions about that. But yes, we'll follow up with you for sure, and with everyone. Mike, when we come up with an answer, we'll just share it with this group. Okay. All right. Well, I will say just as you begin to use Bento, I have found it useful so far for things like narrowing topics pretty quickly. Obviously, if you're trying to ferret out specific content material, it aggregates those primary documents really well. When I was doing the training for National History Day yesterday, that was going to be such a useful thing for them. I think users getting started, it's not necessarily going to be for everyone. I've talked about this for years because I thought it was so interesting. When we were considering Bento early on, I went to a presentation at Electronic Resources and Libraries on the topic, and they covered it really well, the pros and the cons. And they had someone from LSU and someone from NC State. And NC State was one of the first to do a Bento search, and they found that their graduate students and faculty didn't love it because they were always wanting to go in and start making some really severe limits to search results, whereas undergraduates are coming at things a little bit differently. They're coming at it a little bit more broadly with a little bit less search experience, and they the more guidance they can get from the actual search tool, the better. So that's just one way I think about it in terms of when and how to use it. But I think the faculty member I was working with who runs the National History Day program at LaGrange is a history faculty member. He was extremely excited about it and loved it. So hopefully you'll see some of the same type of excitement on your campuses. Well, what I want to do now, if there are no other questions about Bento, I think I've gone through all of the major features. I just want to go to my slide deck here.
Russell.
Yes, go ahead.
There was another question that popped in from Carol at Athens Tech.
Okay.
She asked, can we get Learning Express included for Athens Technical College?
Let us look into that, Carol. It's the same situation where we have a bit of a technical issue with doing that with Britannica. But it sounds like that's something that's going to be priority one for us with new development. I heard from an academic institution that has Britannica this morning on that. So short answer is we want to solve that problem. So give us some time and we'll take a look at that for sure, because we want you to be able to access everything that you have access to. It's just that we had to forge a little bit of a different path with Learning Express, so it was more challenging, and with Britannica, so it was more challenging to implement them for institutions where it's not available at every single institution in that grouping. I know that's more information than you ever needed to know, but that's the challenge that we're presented with. We have to be able to know when someone adds it, someone takes it away, and we have to be able to map it appropriately and manage it technically and logistically. So it's short answer, we're looking into it and we want to fix that problem.
And another question popped in from Angela. She asked, what happens when you search for a DOI in the Bento search?
It should find it. I have searched a couple of things like specific titles. I have not searched the DOI yet, to be honest. Have you, Mike?
I have not, but if you're able to search a regular EDS,
yeah,
you should be able to run any searches you do during regular EDS with Bento search.
Right. It's just searching the index. It's just the same. It's just pulling it from a different source. So in theory, it should be able to do that. I don't have a DOI handy where I would do it, but I'm pretty confident that it would find it because it's running a search just against all the index terms like it would for anything else. And we've done some things like when we discovered that the Bento search was a little bit challenged in one functionality by lengthy searches. We all went in and did a lot of lengthy searches. Just to kind of test it out, and it does pretty good with a lengthy Boolean search, which is something that it didn't always from the get-go. So it's handling those things pretty well, as well as EDS. But yeah, I can't imagine it wouldn't handle. Let's see. Let me look at. Is there a digital object identifier on the? Bear with me. I think on the Zotero bib, I think there might be a digital DOI on the article that I. Yeah, I thought. Total self-aggrandizement here with searching a DOI that is for my own article. But to prove a point. Or maybe not, Angela. Yep, there it is. So, yep, that answered that. Nailed it. Phew, glad it did that. Other questions that have come in while I've been putzing around with that? We just make sure we're covering everything here.
No other questions, but I did just put into the chat that Angela's other question about limiting to full text and if the Science Direct articles would show that I did find one and native EDS, and then did a search for it in Bento and limited to full text, and it's still displayed. So, and I just took a screenshot and put it into the
Thank
chat.
you for that, Mike. And that's a great question, Angela, and thank you for asking it. We'll definitely pay attention to that. So I did mention the new admin features, and I just want to run through those quickly for those of you who may be doing admin as well. Mike is offering several trainings and updates, and you'll find those on the Galileo site, or you can reach out to Mike, and he'll be more than happy to get you in the right place. But you can add the keywords and subjects to Galileo Central resources now, not just your local resources. And again, we made those all clickable and linkable now. And what else? Then again, just it's so easy to update your institution URLs now to include additional URLs. I think it's up to 5. Your library catalog, your library website, and then probably whatever else you might like to include will fit nicely there. Just want to mention, Mike did a Galileo admin training overview session for the Galileo annual conference, outlining these features. And if you want to schedule admin training at any point, just fill out the contact us form on the Galileo website, and Mike will reach back out to you and get you in the right training session for what you need. If you just want to learn a few things, or if you want to learn the whole gamut of what's available, Mike is available both in the upcoming sessions that he's offering, and in the we always are ready to offer sessions to 1 or 2 or 3 people at a time as well. We can always schedule that for you as needed. And we can also provide you with recorded training that can very often meet your needs perfectly well. Anything else you wanted to say about admin training, Mike?
Just that if you're not currently using Galileo admin and it's something that you're interested in, the sessions start next week. So, you feel free to watch the training, or if you just want to contact us, and I can follow up with you on seeing what training is appropriate for what you're wanting to do.
Yep, thank you, Mike. And just in terms of what's next for ongoing things that we're thinking about doing, we want to integrate some other API sources into the results. We're looking at Pines, potentially Alma Primo, the Digital Library of Georgia. We connect to the Digital Library of Georgia right now just because it's indexed in EDS, but we want to forge a direct link because we think we can greatly improve the results. Affordable Learning Georgia, we wanted to make it easier to discover the materials there. The New Georgia Encyclopedia. It's being discovered now, the New Georgia Encyclopedia, but not as well as it could be. So we're thinking about whether or not to do a separate box for NGE, or include them in the encyclopedia box, or we're still working on that. DPLA, Georgia Historic Newspapers, all are under consideration for ways that we can connect to them and provide logical and reasonable boxes to put them in. So we're also hoping for better options for you all to customize your content and layout, both for the whole site. Just generally, we continue to slowly add features there, but we also want the Bento to be something that you can better bend to your own will locally as well in the long term. So we're working on that. Ways to add your own local sources, ways to manipulate the boxes, to put boxes on or take boxes off as you like, and as it works best for your institution. And also, again, as I mentioned earlier, we're looking at ways to take full advantage of Open Athens. And again, there's still a lot of questions in the air about that. How can we give users options to customize content, create user accounts, better default content based on user attributes? Like if we know they're a nursing student, can we put them in a nursing platform or give them the right resources front and center as they log in? And also linking accounts. Again, this is a long-term goal where we want someone to be able to log in once and have access to all of the Galileo content that they have access to, whether it's via their public library system, their Galileo academic institution, or what have you. So those are all things. And again, you guys hit on some of the short-term things. We definitely want to continue to make improvements with Bento. And Carol, I gave feedback on what you asked about earlier today in our development meeting, and we have more reinforcement for that need now. Thank you for sharing that need with Learning Express. And we are going to go forth and continue to make improvements to not only the Bento search, but the entire Galileo platform going forward. With that in mind, we have about 8 minutes left. Just a couple more things to show you before I get into questions. I did want to show you the Galileo training page is available, and you can access the training page via the Galileo main page, just to show you how to get there. One thing I wanted to highlight, you can go through support and then go to tools and training. The training page, this is something I'm very, very pleased to announce. Ken Hensley created our Galileo videos for us a few years ago, and it was taking us time to get new videos created. Ken has gone through and updated all of the great videos that he created, and he's also replaced the stopgap videos that were kind of horrible that I created last year. So much improved video content here on the Galileo Search tutorials on the Galileo page. These are also now express links, so if we ever need to change the video link for whatever, because we're putting them in YouTube, they won't change for you. You can just use these Galileo Express links to pop them right into your pages as you like. So again, very pleased with the work Ken has done to update those. And then also just other webinars that we have coming up. I'm doing one more of these for public libraries, and then one for our K-12 libraries, a couple in August. And then I'm doing 3 on using the Bento search specifically, where I'll go into more detail on that and do some more examples in some 30-minute sessions, July 29th, 30th, and then on August 17th for our media specialists. So those are some upcoming trainings that we have. But also just most excited about showing you that great videos that Ken has now completely revamped so that you can add those back to your library website. Any questions that came through, Mike, while I was gabbing?
No new questions at this time.
Great. Well, I'll give you all a couple minutes. We have about 6 minutes left. While you're thinking of questions and feverishly typing them into the chat, I do want to thank you for coming out. Such a good group today, such good questions. Keep us thinking about this as you begin to use it. Again, encourage you to contact us, have conversations with us. I'm hoping that we'll be getting out and about together again soon so that we can have conversations face to face. I miss that. I miss talking to you all. I miss seeing you all. But don't hesitate to call us or send us an email or send us a support ticket if you've got specific questions or if you want to dig into something with us about the Bento search or any other redesign features that we've added or that you think we should add. We always welcome your feedback. And also, there may be people here today that were involved with the Galileo Development Advisory Committee, or you may be an administrator who encouraged your staff to participate in the Galileo Development Advisory Committee and gave them time to do that. And we thank you all who've made those contributions to the redesign effort for that. And even if you weren't involved, I've gotten emails. I see several names in here today that have been very helpful as we've looked at continuing to improve our features and functionality. So thanks to all of you who've sent feedback over the last year as we've worked on the redesign. Anything else, Mike? If not, we'll go ahead and wrap up.
People just saying thank you and that they're excited about the videos, and thanks for all the great information.
Awesome. Well, great. Thank you all. Yeah, and so much credit to Ken for those videos. He really buckled down and worked to get them done, and he's a perfectionist, and so I'm hoping that they will be much improved. The ones I've looked at already are great, so appreciate him. All right. Well, thank you all so much for your time today, and we look forward to hearing from you and to hopefully seeing you in one of the more lengthy Bento focus sessions down the road. Take care and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you all.